Hey everybody, welcome back to the Doggone Positive Way. I'm Maria, your host and your dog trainer. And today we have a very special guest, my friend Barb. We are talking all about service dogs, what they are, what they're not, the laws, ADA, and everything else. So we're going to get into it, and I'm going to introduce Barb. Just turn this baby down. Going. Here we go. Hey, Barb.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, this is awesome. This has been a long time coming. We've been trying to do this for a little bit, so it's good. But I wanted to, we're going to talk about service dogs and, your experience with them and everything. But I wanted to ask you, you have a service dog now, right?
Yes, he's my fourth service dog through the program that I go.
Okay, and where do you get your service dogs? What program is it?
Canine Companions, and it's a national organization. They have a center in Orlando, and that's who I deal with.
Right, right. That's excellent. Yeah, we went up there. I went up there with you once during some event that they had. I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a workshop,
Right.
that they just taught you some different things.
Yeah.
So
So tell me, what made you decide to go with Canine Companions, and what was your first? Tell me about your first service dog.
My first service dog was named Rocky, and the reason I wanted a service dog was I've moved out on my own. I have cerebral palsy, and like when I drop something, I cannot pick it up with my hands. So I have a grabber. I'm sure people have seen, those grabbers that they have. But what happens if you drop that? If you drop that, I used to have to go get my meat thongs and to pick up the grabber, and then
Yep.
hopefully use the grabber to pick up what I needed in the first place. And not only that, I really did need help because I live by myself, but
Right.
but just the emotional support, um, as you would do with any dog, just to love someone that's counting on you. That
Yeah.
really helped me too.
Yeah, and to have that bond with a dog and stuff is really like no other dog. And then if it's to the level where they are helping you be able to just function, as far as like, oh, picking things up and or getting something for you, or like turning a light on, or something like that.
My
Yeah.
my current dog Bogo, he turns off the bathroom light for me at night. He can push a crosswalk because sometimes he pushes it with his nose, like he gets his paws up on the crosswalk, and then he pushes the button with his nose. So
Like
that's
like on a busy street or something.
yes,
Like the
yes,
buttons that you push to say,
to
so
cross
that
the
people
street.
know, like, do not walk, or walk, or it's red, or
Absolutely.
that is very cool. Okay, so tell me again. So he does it. He can do it with his paws and his
Yeah,
own.
he gets his paws up on the pole, and then he
Uh,
uses his nose, and it's different cues that I give him to let him know what he needs to do. So
right.
like for example, for the crosswalk, I would say up, so he would put his paws up on the pole, and then I would say push, and he pushes the button with his nose.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, um, he he does a lot of things with you in public, right? So that's one of the
Yes.
things he does. What else can he do for you? Like, I don't want to veer too far ahead of ourselves, but just like another example of what he can do for you, like in your house, say,
Oh, in
other
my
than
house,
turn
um,
the night light
he
off, light off.
he turns off the bathroom light for me at night because the bathroom is in the bedroom.
Right.
So he and how when he does that, I have to say up. So he would put his paws up again,
Okay.
um, and then I would say switch, and he actually grabs the light switch with his mouth and pushes it down.
Excellent. Okay. So it seems like the cue up is for him to place his feet on something, or can it be also to get up on a bed or a table or a
Well,
couch?
to get up on a bed, I use jump. Like
Oh,
to get on the couch or to get on the bed, I use jump.
so that's very specific to exactly what he's doing is
Yes.
jumping on the bed or jumping on the couch. Okay, excellent. That's really good. Um, So now I met Rocky. Rocky was awesome. And I think one of the first things that blew my mind was you showed me that Rocky could pick up like a coin, like I don't even know if it was, and a credit card, like
Yes.
something just ridiculously low profile on the floor
Yep.
that's totally flat and thin and everything. So talk a little bit about that kind of stuff too. Like
It it's a way for independence because if I didn't have a service dog, there's no way. Like I couldn't get those things, and I would have to stay where I was. Like especially like if I was in a store, I had to stay where I was, and like I would look at the people and if I would see like a relatively nice look on their face, I would ask them, if they were willing to help me. And most people will. But the thing is, with a service dog, I can have him pick it up and be on my way.
exactly, and not have to interact with people, which I mean, I kind of like, I mean, I'm very social, but to ask for help from somebody, a stranger, and you're kind of eyeing them up, and yeah, I get what you mean. Like you kind of profile the person of like, is this a nice
Right.
person or a mean person, or because I'm kind of counting on them to get that thing of all the way up there or all the way down there or whatever the case may
and
be.
And a lot of times, like in the store, when I have to get something that I can't reach,
Mhm,
I'll knock it off the shelf
mhm,
and then he can pick up the item.
mhm.
So that's another thing he does that is really helpful.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, how old are service dogs when you get them typically? When
They
you
are usually 2 years old.
okay.
And what they do is at Canine Companions, the dogs first go to a puppy raiser. Well, they have breeder caretakers,
Mhm.
um, where they um, breed the dog, and then from the time the dog is little, they give them tasks like they when they start to walk, they might put something in front of them and know what the dog does. Does he go around it and go on his way? Does it stop him cold? The new things to his environment. So these dogs have a lot of training. Um, I believe that they stay with the puppy raiser maybe probably a little over, maybe a year and a half. I'm thinking, and then they go to an advanced training center where they learn more complex commands like doing the crosswalk and picking up all kinds of objects and stuff.
Mm. Come here, Troy. Come on. Here's training live. Good boy. Because I hear things that you cannot hear, but I hear them. So okay, so then at that point, so they're spend a decent amount of time with puppy raiser. I've had a couple of puppy raisers in my classes at my shop. So that was fun. Like they had just gotten them and they had to socialize them and take them to a class, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And um,
And at Canine Companions, they have guidelines about when it's okay to take your dog to different environments, because you don't want to take a dog that's too young to different environments because it can reinforce fear and things like that.
yeah, absolutely. Like it should be something that I talk about and that I practiced when I did my puppy classes. They're all age appropriate. You know, you have to have some shots on board. You don't need your rabies because by that time it's kind of too late. Most dogs don't get their rabies until they're like 4 months old, and that's when
Right.
the window closes. But you know, so it was very specific, age appropriate. Dogs, I think, is really important. You know, and for me, I hate dog parks, period, for any dog. But that's going to expose your dog, and especially a puppy, to a lot of disease and also
Right.
interaction with dogs that have no business being there. So I like the fact that that you should have a controlled environment for the
Right.
puppy for training and
They,
everything.
sorry.
No, not at all.
Canine Canine Companions doesn't want us to take our dogs to dog parks.
I love
Um,
it.
and with Canine Companions, all programs don't, but Canine Companions retains ownership of the dogs. And
Uh-huh.
for me, this is good because that way, on the rare, very rare occasion, if the dog is not being cared for properly, they own the dog, so they can take the dog back.
So
But
you have a contract with them then also, right?
yes,
Yeah,
and like I
that's
said,
great.
that's very rare. But I to me that's good reassurance.
It is. It is. I feel like, in that manner, when you have a situation like that, whether it's like a breeder or, service dog, guide dog organization, that you sign a contract, because that means they care about their
Right.
dog, you know,
And if
and
you have any problem, like they will always help.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Now, have you had problems with, like where to live? Was it ever a question like, oh, is that a service? Is that really a service dog? If you wanted to
Right.
at a certain place, uh,
I
have you?
have not I have not had a problem, but I do know of people that say their dogs are service dogs.
Oh
So
yeah, we're gonna
that
crack that open in any minute now. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
But you
I have
yourself
I
haven't had
have
any problems.
right,
That's
right.
that's good. Now let me see. So okay, so Rocky was your first, and you're on your fourth. So who was in between Rocky and Bogo?
After Rocky I had Olson,
Mm-hmm.
and um and another thing, they allow you to keep the dogs if you're able when they retire,
That's
because
awesome.
sometimes the dogs, when they really can't work anymore, Anyway, I shouldn't go off on that, but
No, that's fine.
um,
No, you can definitely share that. I think that's important information because that's something I think about for myself. Like if and when I get a service dog, like I'm not going to be able to give that dog to anybody else to take care of.
right.
Tammy's not
And
going to. Oh, that's like not happening.
and I live in a very small condo, so
Yeah,
for me to have more than one big dog, it's like it's not doable.
it's a
So,
lot. Yeah, yeah. You need to have. They need to have space for them, just for themselves. Like even just mentally,
oh
to be,
yeah.
not to be
Um,
crowded or anything. So after Olson, who did you have?
Gilligan
That
and
right?
Gilligan, he had my heart. Like,
Yeah.
um, so, and I love Bogo, but
Yeah.
Gilligan was like one of a kind, you know.
Yep. Yep.
But
For sure.
one time I'll never forget because the dogs are trained not to eat food off the floor unless they get permission. And
Uh-huh.
there's a cue that we say to give them permission. One time I dropped a pizza box with 3 pieces of pizza in the carton. Gilligan got me the top part of the pizza box and lifted it so I could grab it and did not touch the pizza.
That's
That
amazing.
that was like I was like, "Oh my gosh, I was so
Next
excited."
level. That's next level, right?
Yeah, and that's how good the training is, you
Yeah.
know.
Hmm. Now you said that you do, if something, like if you put some like a treat on the floor or something, you have a cue for him to get it.
Yeah, if it's okay for him to get it,
Hmm.
um I say okay.
Okay.
That's yeah. And that's for eating and drinking because when we're out and about, we don't want the dog to like lick something off the ground and stuff like that.
Right. What about drinking?
Well, when you go in parking lots and stuff, you never know what's on the ground. Could be oil, could be, and the dog might think it's okay for him to drink,
Like
but
out of a puddle or something like that.
right. And even like if I'm near him, he has a bucket full of water in my bathroom, and if I'm in proximity to him, he won't drink unless I say okay.
Really?
Probably, huh?
That's kind of cool though,
Yeah,
actually.
he looks for that permission, you know.
Yeah. Keep talking, Barb. I've got to get a Kong stuffed here for Mr.
Okay, okay.
He brought it
Um,
over. He's like,
oh,
need
well, that's
some.
a good
I need,
doggy.
yeah.
Uh, um, let's see. Another thing he does is take my socks off, and he also can take my pants off my feet with his mouth. And
Like,
I think they know about 40 to 50 commands or cues, and then they teach us how to like train him to do other things. Like we build on the commands he knows by using chaining, and I forgot the other one.
okay, yeah, shaping.
Shaping and chaining.
Yeah. Now I love that because it might be something like they may know. Okay, they know these 40 commands that are very specific, but maybe you want something to teach your dog something. This is how I'm hearing it. Maybe you like want to teach him to do something that is more specific to your need that they haven't trained in. Is that something that you're talking
Right,
about?
right.
Have
Like
you had to do that with something with him?
with Bogo, I'm trying to think.
Or any?
What I did do is after he eats his food, I've trained him to pick up his bowl, and bring it to the kitchen because I didn't want him. He drives me nuts. He tries to lick the bowl all the time. I think he thinks food is going to spring out of it, you know?
He's just better like essence of old food or something. Like, yeah. I
Oh,
lick.
there's never, one thing I will tell you, there's never old food. It's like you
No,
put that
I
thing,
don't mean old food. I mean essence of what once was. I feel
right, right. But
like,
he licks it so much. There's like not even a crumb in
yeah,
that bowl.
yeah. That's so funny. Very thorough. I'm just stuffing
Yes.
it Kong, just so everybody knows. Troy brought me his Kong. He's getting some cookies. I'm making it still super easy for him to get things out because this is something that I just want him to just really have ease of access because I'm trying to prepare him and work him through, which he has no idea. Not preventing because he already has separation anxiety, but setting us all up to be successful. So I've been, really just laying it on with all of the different toys, and I've got an order coming soon of some other toys for him, like
That's
enrichment toys.
great.
Yeah, because I mean, he always has his balls and treats and all that stuff. But I'm being much more intentional because now that we don't have, Bella's passed, it's like Tammy asked me, so like, how are we ever gonna go anywhere? I was like, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, and we're getting there. And when we do, our first dry run is literally going to be
Out the
maybe
door.
drive down the street if possible, right? Because we have cameras and stuff. So, and you know, we might not even get there. So, which is totally fine. If we're right out the door, he's going to know we're there.
Oh, I see.
So like we have to leave because he's just intense and yeah. So this is part of it, So I'm glad he's engaging more with me, but he's so cute. He's 11 and a half, so
Oh, wow.
yeah, he's an old man too. Do you remember any things that you taught to your other dogs that were not already taught to them?
Yes, I taught Rocky. I taught him, I said, get the soda, and I taught him how to open the refrigerator. I would keep well, he knew how to, I just put like something on the refrigerator that he can grab.
Right.
Um, but I taught him how to open the refrigerator. I put like a piece of rubber in the refrigerator, and I always used to keep the sodas on the same spot all the time. So he would get the soda out, he would close the door with his foot and bring me the soda. Um, he was a very fast learner, and so when I would say get the soda, and that's like chaining the cues.
Yeah.
He would open the refrigerator, get the soda, close the refrigerator, and bring it to me. That was a good thing.
That's it. Yeah, that is a good thing. That's a huge chain of cues.
Yep.
So um now and this is something you and I have talked about a lot, and this is something that has been very much up in the forefront of social media. And also, I actually just saw a post on YouTube from a creator where there was a comedian, kind of like he was saying, and this guy's funny. He's a funny guy, but he was saying that anybody can get a service dog or say they have a service dog because, you can get a vest online and you can get these business cards and all that stuff. And then there's also, on a whole nother realm, there's also the emotional support animal, and that went kind of crazy where like people were literally just, let me bring anything on a plane, including an alligator, to say that's my emotional support animal. And I've been seeing a lot of advertisements on YouTube and stuff for emotional support dogs, emo dogs, or
Yeah, and,
the dogs. And they're like, you can just call this number, speak to a doctor, and
right.
get your, and you pay and all this junk. And I'm like, this is such a scam.
But
It's
you
just,
know how much money they must be making,
oh,
off
God,
of
they must be,
people.
oh, yes. They must be making money hand over fist. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk to you about that, the fake service dog, and then the and we're not talking about guide dogs, but guide dogs are very specific to the needs of people who are visually impaired, whether it's, complete blindness or variations, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then you have service dogs that are providing a different service for you, for people like
Right.
you and me, like me. Um, so let's talk about the service dog versus the emo dog, or emo. We're going to focus on dogs, but the emotional, support dog.
Well, they finally put it in the verbiage that emotional support dogs are not covered under the ADA. I mean, and that's the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Right.
Um,
I'm going to pull that up while you talk and share it on the screen, because I've been doing some more investigating, but that's very important because people need to see this. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh yeah. Um, and the thing is, if you think about it, all dogs are there for our emotional support. Now, there are dogs
Good
for
point.
their psychiatric service dogs specifically for people that have PTSD, and they do things to mitigate um, people's PTSD.
Yep.
But as far as um, the emotional support dogs, that's where I've run into trouble as a service dog user,
Yeah.
because people um, just bring their dogs to bring them. And uh, um, I was going in a Verizon store, I had business, um, and there was a Great Dane in there. And as soon as he saw my dog, he was lunging at my dog, and he looked like he could pull the lady over like
Uh,
a matchstick, you know. Um,
yeah.
she started hitting the dog to try to get him to lay down.
Oh,
And yeah, she was hitting her dog. And of course, I had to leave. There was no way I could stay there. And when I went back to the Verizon store, I said, why do you guys, allow that in your store? Because even if a dog is a service dog and they impose a threat to another dog or another people, they can legally ask the person to leave. And they
right.
said, well,
So
we don't want to get sued. And the thing, so
really,
they'd rather let this, what I view as a dangerous dog in their
right.
establishment.
Just want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody out there for listening. This is really valuable information that we are talking about with service dogs. And just, I love you guys. Keep listening, share, like, subscribe, get this information out to as many people as possible. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.